Welcome to episode 4 of the TM GolfCast. My name is Tad Myers, and in this episode, I got to sit down with Derrick Knopsnyder. Derrick is a full-time stand-up comedian, but he is also a Callaway Golf fitting rep for the West Penn area. I got to sit down with Derrick, and we talked about everything from fitting to how we can improve ourselves as fitters to his life as a stand-up comedian. We talk about how he got started in comedy, how he got started in the game of golf, and then we also did a Instagram Live where we recorded the entire conversation. So at the end of the conversation, you hear us answering some of your questions. So this is the podcast with Derrick Knopsnyder. Take a listen. Alrighty, guys, this is episode 4 of the TM GolfCast. I'm here with live comedian and Callaway Golf fitter. How long have you actually been a fitter for?
Since 2012. Started in, April of 2012, and just kind of bounced around. Stayed with Callaway for like 4 years, to 2016, 17, and then I'm back with them this year, so things are good.
That's awesome. We've gotten to know each other over the past year pretty well.
Yeah.
Only done a couple fitting events together.
That's because we're always the opposite ones.
Yeah,
like, there's so many different
You're
things
up
going
north,
on.
right? And then I cover the ones down
yeah,
south.
whenever.
Yeah. So how did you get into, like, what is your first memory of doing anything golf related? What made you want to start going into the PGM program?
Well, I'll say those are two different things, because my first memory was probably like, I think, just being around my dad and his friends, and just kind of like when I was like young, like 7, 8 years old, I was like, all right, we gotta, this is cool. This is a way for me to spend time with my dad, and just kind of things like that. What made me want to get in the golf industry, I'd always just wanted to work in golf, and then when my buddy came here, I had a kid from my high school come here, and I was like, oh, like, I didn't know this existed, so then I looked into it, and I was like, oh, this is how you get into the golf industry, so did it that way.
That's awesome. How did you get it started in the comedy business? Because you're also full-time stand-up comedian right now as well.
Yeah, so that's actually, so I got into comedy because I saw my first live show when I was 7. I know that one for sure, and I was with my pap. I was at a county fair, and they had a comedian there, and I was like, that's what I want. And then, like, at 7 years old, I was like, this dude has my dream job. And so from that point forward, and I looked at both my parents. They're both 5'7", not athletic, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be a wide receiver, so I better get funny, making people laugh, and from that point forward, it's just kind of everything in my life has just kind of been building to where we are now. So
that's awesome. Now, also, last year you were full time with PXG as well. How did that work out?
Well, I'm back with Callaway, so it didn't.
Well, what was that experience like?
No,
with
you know what? It
PXG?
was great. It was unbelievable. The just the experience overall was unbelievable. You're fitting a high-end product to a high-end clientele, and I always say the same thing. I would say, what's so funny is I fit a lot of people with the same first name. And that first name was Doctor, because honestly, you literally have, like, these clubs are $3,500 or $5,000 or $7,000 a set. So I had so many people like, well, how much does it cost? And for every person that how much does it cost, I had 3 people that said, if I like them, order me another set for my house in Florida. But it's just really interesting. It was cool because this is one of the coolest things about the company. So what they would do is everything's custom built, everything. Like, as soon as you place the order, a builder started building them, right? 4 quality control checkpoints, like top and bottom, button down, like everything's good. It takes about 2 weeks to get your product because they have to custom build it, right?
Yeah.
But for an extra $1,000, not that bad. If for an extra $1,000, they would deliver the clubs to your door the next morning, no matter where you were in the country.
That's awesome.
Which is unbelievable until you're like me. And I had a guy do that, and I put the wrong grips on him. And that is not good. Not a good thing to do. So he was salty, justifiably. And we made it work.
That's good. We played in a golf tournament a couple of weeks ago. That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
We got to know each other pretty well, and you've been helping me a lot with the podcast, and I really appreciate it. What is the funniest thing you've actually seen on the golf course?
On the golf course? I'll tell you, I
know.
know.
Let's split it up. What's golf course, and then also doing a show?
Okay.
During a show.
Man, during a show is so hard because, like, there's so many. I mean, there's obviously so many things that happen that lead up to, like, funny moments and things like that. Like, you have people shout out random things all the time. You have like I said tonight, I had a girl. I said I literally asked an audience like what animal do you see on the side of the like what sign on the side of the road do you see every 4 miles in Pennsylvania warning you that what animal might jumps out in front of your car? And she yelled tractor, which is not an animal, not even close. That's not an animal at all. But the funniest thing that ever happened, like to me on a golf course, I would say I still have a guy that like won't talk to me from when I was 14 because of what I said on I said on a golf course. So this is like I kind of got started doing comedy like on the golf course because I hang out with all my dad's friends. And how do you become a 12-year-old and hang out with like 45-year-olds and like relate to them? Just make them laugh, right? So this guy, I asked him. We were going down one of the fairways, and I was like, "Hey, are you married?" And he was kind of like a dick. I'll say. Can I say that? He's kind of a
No one watches
he was
this
a
anyway.
nice person, and I was like, "Are you married?" He's like, "Yeah, it's the best 7 years of her life." And I said, "Why? Was she cheating on you?" And which to this day, off the top of my head, I was 12, and I had my dad's two other buddies like lose their mind over it, and so he won't talk to me still. So if you're out there, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm not sorry though. For being honest.
Yeah. So how you were saying you said you were fitting since 2006, right?
2011, 2012.
2012.
Yeah,
Okay.
2016 is when I stopped fitting for Callaway.
Now, what got you into actually wanting to go into that side of the industry? We have the
Sure.
green grass side. What made you want to go into that sector of the industry?
So that's a good question. I started doing like the bag rack when I was a kid, just busting my butt, washing carts, anything for a tip, washing clubs, cleaning clubs off, whatever, and that was cool. And I enjoyed that. And then I came to Cal, and I like went through the program my first year. And since I'd worked at the golf course for a few years, they're like, we're going to bring you inside now. It's like the assistant. And I was like, cool. And then I did that, and I was like, not cool. Because as the assistant, you work, 60 hours a week, 50 hours a week, and you're inside answering phones. And I was like, I felt more around golf when I was actually at least touching golf clubs than I do now, like running the range picker. Now all I'm doing is answering the phone, booking tee times. Like that wasn't fun. And so I decided like I don't want to be the guy stuck behind the desk. If I want to do anything, I want to be outside. I want to be hands-on kind of thing. And teaching is fun, but it takes a really long time to build up your clientele to where you can actually make a living doing teaching. So I was like, well, I don't want to do that either. So this was like a cool medium. Like you can fit people, just random people will come to you like, hey, I need this driver, or whatever. So that was like my outlet. I was not dealing with the members. I was not dealing with anything. I was just fitting people, and that was making them better. When you make people better at golf, they're happier. So
They're happy. They love it.
Yeah, yeah.
So what made you want to come to Cal? Because you are a PGM alumni from Cal.
Right.
What made you want to come to Cal?
So there was two schools in the state that offered PGM, Cal U and Penn State, and I didn't get into Penn State. So I came to Cal. It was a very simple choice when they were like, you can go here or not at all, and I was like, I'll go here. That's fine. And Cal's great. It's amazing. It was a lot of fun, and it honestly made me the person I am today. But at the same time, it also saved me a bunch of money, so that's cool.
That is true. Yeah, absolutely. So you're on the tour, right? You have about a month left, you say?
So this is like I'm always touring with shows. This month was just extremely busier than most. So I did 20. I'll do by the end of this month. By the end of September, I'll have done 21 shows in 28 days. So that's not a lot of time between travel and the shows themselves and things like that. So it's been amazing. It's been a lot of fun. I've gotten to meet some cool people. I've got to do some cool shows. And but I'm excited. October's a little slower, so I'm excited to like maybe play some fall golf and just kind of sleep in my own bed.
There you go. That's
those
even
are my
better.
those are my two objectives.
So, what is being a former PGM student?
Hmm?
What is one advice you'd give to all PGM students who are in the industry or wanting to go into the industry now?
Finish it. And I mean that so many the PGM turnover rate I think across the country is extremely high. So what they do is kids come in like, oh, we're gonna golf all the time, and they find out that's not exactly what happens. Finish it. Go through the golf program. Do your internships. Even if you know, like, hey, like golf's not for me, because it happens. It happens to a lot of people. They find out golf is not for them for whatever reason. But you are never going to build a better network of people than you will in the golf industry, because people that play golf are usually very affluent people, and if you need a job later, if you need an opportunity later, or if you need something, those are the people that are going to help you get to where you need to go. So finish the degree, even if you know there's a 0% chance you want to be in the industry after that, and network. Just meet those people and see what you can do. I mean, I knew kind of coming out of college that golf was going to take a back seat to stand up whenever I had the opportunity, and I still wanted that degree. I wanted to finish it. I wanted to do it, and I've, like I said, met so many people that are like have helped me out along the way.
That's awesome. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm still sticking with industries is, you meet so many cool people, especially with fitting.
Sure.
You get to have a lot of fun with people, and especially with you can make jokes with them and really connect with those people you're fitting and make them happier. And at the end of the day, it's awesome. Definitely stick with it. So, with being in Cal, were you doing also stand up at the same time while you were in college?
Yeah, actually, I started stand up when I was after my freshman year in college, so that would have been 2010, and then what I was doing was I would basically go to class till like noon, and I would just drive a couple hours, do a show, and then drive back and that night and go to class at 8 a.m. the next morning. I had a guy that was like kind of like mentoring me along the way, and he would he'd be like, hey, I have a show in this town in Pennsylvania. Can you make it by 7? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. And then you just go into the show, and then you come back. And so yeah, I was doing both and juggling both for the most part fairly well. It was always cool because it was I never had to make the decision because it was always like whenever I was doing like jobs in the golf industry, my employers knew that I wasn't that this is comedy was my passion. And they were okay with that. They were like, all right, you just let me know when you need to do your thing and come work whenever you can. And I was like, that's amazing,
That's
So
awesome.
that was I was really fortunate that I had such a strong group of people around me that were just like, yeah, we understand. You should go chase this. You're 20, 22, 23. Go chase that. You have the rest of your life to work if you need to, and see what you can make of this.
That's awesome. What were your internships like? Like, what places did you go and intern at?
So I was at a public resort course, and that was great. I grew up there, so that was awesome. I loved it. It's still the best memories of my life as a kid because I mean, like those are the best. Like the summer I was 16, 17, 18. Those were the best summers of my life because literally it was just hanging out with your buddies all the time, golfing and making money. And I was like, this is great. And then I went to a private course, which I didn't like as much because I never grew up in the private sector of the golf industry, and I don't really understand. Like, I don't need to know what Doctor So and So's wife, is mad about this week. That doesn't do anything for me. It just doesn't. And so I respect it, and I understand like that's where a lot of the connections are, but it's just not for me. And then I was with Callaway for the last 4 years. I mean, that was where
Oh, wow.
that was where for the next 4, and I was the assistant golf coach here, which is cool because I hate playing competitive golf, but I like being around it. I don't have the mindset. I'm not a competitive person, so I don't have the mindset to be like, I'm gonna knock this ball in the hole and beat you. But I'm also like, we can all be friends. So like I don't. But I like to be around competitive golf. I think it's just really interesting to see somebody get really fiery and be like, just that grind. Like I'm gonna stick this 6 inches, and like that's so cool. So I like that as well. But yeah, but fitting has always kind of been home for me.
That's awesome. So you're Callaway, you're PXG as well. You're back to Callaway.
Yeah.
It's been an awesome opportunity getting to work with you. I think the last time we did a fitting event was Golf Galaxy.
Yeah.
Those were some long days.
Yeah, yeah. Those were so what they were doing like a Rogue launch kind of thing, and they were like, "You'll hit it farther with Rogue" or whatever the slogan. That's not the slogan. That would be a terrible slogan. Like you'll hit it farther. Like that's a bad slogan. They don't let me make up slogans. But they just brought like this tour van experience, like out into a parking lot, which is great until you break a windshield. It did happen. I know, but it's great. It's this cool thing, and like you get to so we got to work with people from inside, from corporate, and we got to. But they were extremely long days, so we had to set up at like 6, and we were done at like 10, and it was in July?
Yeah.
In the middle of July,
yeah.
on asphalt, because that's where you want to be when it's 105 degrees outside. And so we worked together and we sweated a lot. We sweated a lot.
And you stuck me inside the
Oh yes,
inside
there was like a simulator like outside, so like we could really fit people. They could see where the ball's going. And after being in there for like a half hour, I was like, well, I'm gonna have a heat stroke, and I don't have health insurance, so we're gonna put Tad in there because I'm pretty sure he's still on his parents' health insurance, so they can they can pay for your heat stroke.
So, so wrapping this up, I do appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, dude, anytime.
So, well, you already said the advice. What advice would you give to not PGMers but head pros or people going into the fitting section now, like turning to the PGA and saying I want to go in the fitting route?
Sure. Um, just don't be afraid of it. I mean, that's such a generic answer, but like I don't think there's anything more intimidating than when someone comes up to you, like for your first year. You know what I mean? Like when someone comes up to you and they're just like, "Well, you're the expert. What do you suggest?" And you're like, "Oh, I'm the expert. That's right. Okay. What do I? That's And you kind of just learn as you go. But at the same time, like you have to understand where the fitting's going, understand where it needs to be. Ask your basic questions like, "What are you playing now? What are we looking to improve? What are your misses? Things like that." So you're not just going into a blind, just like put this together here, hit this. You know what I mean? Because I think a good fitting, you have maybe 4 shaft changes at most.
Yeah.
Especially with driver, because you wear people out with driver really quickly because they're swinging 105 miles an hour. So get like 4. Like this is the region of shafts we're going to be in. Now we're just going to dial it in from here. And then same with irons. Like this is what we're looking at trajectory. This is what we're looking at shot pattern, things like that. And then kind of go from there. But like 4 is the max. You go any more than 4, and I feel like people are like, they're just like, is he just guessing at this point? You know what I mean? You lose a little bit of credibility because you're like, well, does he know what he's doing? Because he's just making me hit all these random things, and that's like telling me, and then he's like, oh, this one's going farther, this one's going. So just always understand where the fitting is going and ask the right questions.
And always have confidence, I think, too. That's one of the biggest things.
For sure. And here's the thing. This is probably not the best advice, but you're the expert, all right? People are going to come up to you all the time and say things that they read in Golf Digest to sound cool. Like I fit one guy, and he was like, he's either 97 or dead. He was he was in between the two ages, and he was like, well, I have a slow swing speed, and I need a mid kick point for my 5-wood. I was like, dude, like the next time the kick point of your shaft works for you will be the first time in 7 years. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just not swinging hard enough to make the club work. Yeah, we're gonna get you something that's soft. You're gonna get it up in the air. You're gonna have fun, and you're gonna enjoy doing it. But they just want to use big words to impress you. But at the same time, like, you be confident, understand what your objective is, and then just move towards it. Because at the end of the day, you're the guy that they're looking for the answers. So you just have to have them.
What about those guys who they might not be that old, but they're always they're complicating you with words, and then all of a sudden you feel uncomfortable. Because I've had that happen to me all the time.
So what it is they're trying to impress you by how much they know. A lot of times. So there's some guys out there like, I need this shaft. And you're like, all right, well, let's put you in this shaft. I had a guy one time, I mean, just puring the ball with a stock shaft. Just a stock standard shaft. He was hitting it great. Spin rate was right where we were looking. Launch was perfect. His total distance was up like 10 or 12 yards. He was really making improvements. And then I told him, he's like, so what's the upcharge in the shaft? And I was like, well, there's not one. And he's like, I don't want it. He wasn't looking to get better. He was looking to pull something out of his bag that was shiny and different than his friends had. And at that point, you just put an upgraded shaft in there that does the same thing. And you're like, here you go. If you want to spend an extra $150, I'm okay with that. Well, you're never in the market to not sell somebody a product. But at the same time, because here's the thing, like, they will not buy from you if they don't feel like they're going to get what they want. So at the end of the day, you have to give them what they're looking for, but you have to give them what they want. So if they kind of come into this fitting and say, we want this, then you're like, okay, well, here's what you should be playing, and here's what I would fit you in if you were doing this. But if you want to hit this, even if it's not the best result, because a lot of guys are like, I want to hit the blades. I'll learn to hit them. You're not going to learn to hit them. You know what I mean? You're not going to put that much time and effort into learning to hit them. So just get something that fits your game, that makes the game fun. Like guys won't go into like the high handicap, not the high handicap, but the game improvement irons. They won't do it because they're like, the top line's too big for me. I can't do it. Meanwhile, their consistency is greatly improved. At that point, you find the best solution that fits their eye, and you put them in it. Even if it's not like, this is not producing the highest, like the highest ball speeds or the farthest longest shots or the most, but they also have to be able to, you have to look at your dance partner in order to, you have to, you're not gonna dance with an ugly dance partner. You got to be able to look at it and appreciate it. So that's kind of where it's at.
Now we see in the game of golf, like all these ads, you got to go get fit. Go get fit. That's the best way. What do you think is the best way we can grow the game right now, as not only PGM students, but also people who've been in the industry for a long time.
Yeah.
Since you've been in the industry for a long time, what is the best way we can grow the game now?
Well, first off, it doesn't cost anything to get fit. If you go to your demo days, it costs nothing. Do it. I mean, this is the craziest thing in the world. People will spend thousands and thousands of dollars and not take it for a test drive. Like that's you wouldn't
Yeah,
go,
it is
you
crazy
wouldn't buy
to
a
do,
car right off the lot and be like, I don't need to drive it. It's fine. I read in a magazine. It's good. Yeah. Who told you that? The guy that made it. All right. Yeah. He's probably not going to talk shit on his own product. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear. He's probably not going to talk crap on his own product. You know what I mean? Like, go get fit. See if it's right for you. Because even though you might think like this is what I need, it might not be what you need. But the quickest way to grow the game is to get people who aren't playing involved. I mean, like it sounds so basic, but we're overlooking that. We're like, how do we get this? Go to where they are and then get them playing, right? Like, you need to figure out where. And the other thing too is get your current people to play more and to bring guests and to bring make tournaments that are fun for everybody. There's different events, like different things. Guys don't like to play golf because they feel intimidated by it. Like, this guy's really good. I can't compete with him. I don't want to play around him. So you play in events where they can all kind of play together and things like that. So I think that's the quickest way.
That's the quickest way to get it.
I mean, there's no right answer here. Make it less expensive. I mean, realistically, that's a way. There's no reason that we need to spend $3,000 on a set of golf clubs only to find out the next year that this one's $3,000 better. Like, that doesn't make sense. I think at some point the market's going to be like, all right, well, drivers aren't $500 anymore or $600 anymore, or if you're PXG, $1,100 or more. They're just not, because they just don't have to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the best part is, you buy a driver for $600 and you trade it in a week later and it's $300 or $200. It's like people are taking baths on these products, and I think so. Make it more affordable.
Yeah.
Anything. You want to sell more of something, make it more. I mean, obviously to a price point, but make it more efficient, make it more affordable.
Make it more fun to play the game by the price of it.
Yeah, I mean, you really make it more attractive.
Yeah.
By the price of it. People, the entry level, the barrier to entry is a lot higher in golf than it is in soccer, because you need $4 for a soccer ball. You need $1,500 for to get a golf clubs or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think that would be extremely helpful, because parents would be more willing to sign their kids up if they didn't have to go bankrupt to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what about the comedy side as well? How do you now? Is there I'm not familiar with much of the comedy side, but do you see a lot of people coming into the side? And what advice would you give to the people who are up and coming in that side of the industry?
Doing comedy?
Yeah.
What advice would I give somebody doing comedy?
Yeah.
Learn to hate yourself for a while, because you're not going to be good. And the only good thing is you don't know how bad you are when you start. So that's extremely helpful. Because if I knew how bad I was when I started, there's no way I would still be doing comedy. I mean, you're not going to do something you're not good at. But you have small victories along the way, and then at some point you kind of figure it out and be like, oh, this is how it works, and then you just kind of keep going after it that way. But just be okay with not being good. The same with golf. Just be okay with not being good for a while, and you're gonna get better, because that's what happens. The more times you do anything, the better you get at it.
Absolutely, yeah. Just to wrap it up, is
Yeah.
there anywhere that the people out there can follow you?
Yeah.
Instagram, Snapchat, what out there?
Perfect. Yeah. Snapchat, you don't want that. It's just pictures of my dog. And Instagram's probably my best one. It's DK Comedy with the underscore behind it. So DK Comedy underscore. You can follow me there. Tell me you watched the podcast or the live stream, and love to connect with you guys, and that'd be awesome. Or if you want to come see a show.
Yeah, where are you going to be at next?
I'm going to be at home next, sleeping. Next I have, so my next live shows that are open to the public are next weekend in Newport News, Virginia. So if you're willing to drive, I would see you there. And I have a few events at Seven Springs, the resort, in November, so that'll be cool. All my dates are on my website at www.dkcomedy.com, and you can also follow all my social media at DK Comedy with the line underneath it. So
Awesome, man.
I don't know, what is that, underscore?
Yeah,
It's
I
an
think
underscore.
Yeah,
It's an underscore. We've just found out from our producer it doesn't exist, that it's an underscore.
I wonder if there's any questions here, real quick.
Yeah, let's see some questions. No questions? This kid sucks. What?
They're just mad at me that I've done this on a Friday night here. What do we got here? Oh, wow. Okay. Where would you look like 10 years from now?
Where would I like to see myself 10 years from now? Right back here on this podcast. You know what? Honestly, my dream in life, I would say, My dream in life is to host a game show on network television. I want to beat Steve Harvey, and that's my dream. Like I think that'd be so much fun, and I get to meet some people, and I get to do a lot of shows because of that. So that's where I really want to see myself in 10 years.
Yeah, we got out there. We got also somebody else. We got somebody practicing late at night here on a Friday night. Absolutely. Your friend Ben is on here. Ben.
Hey Ben. Hey Spanky. What's up? What's up, Sylvester?
All right. It seems like that's all the questions. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for being on the live Instagram. Thank you very much. Where's the camera? There it is. Alrighty, Derrick. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll do another fitting again soon.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, so that was episode 4 of the TM GolfCast. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said before, this episode was was recorded through Instagram Live, and so unfortunately we were not able to save the live video. However, there will be more Instagram Lives in the future, as well as some more Facebook Lives as well. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do a Facebook Live for this podcast, but for the next few, we will be. So tune into Facebook, tune into Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Tad Myers, and then you can also follow me on Facebook at Tad Myers as well. So that is episode 4. Hope to see you guys next time.